Ladies and gentlemen, the Zack Snyder DCU bullshit is officially over and sealed away. We're moving on to the new era of DCU, courtesy of James Gunn. Superman is finally here and out now. And was it worth the hype? Today's review, we'll be talking about this on what's the hype about it and what makes this worth the spark of DCU. But before we get started, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and leave a like on this video, as it really helps a lot. Let's dive in to Superman. So I do want to state this as I talk about Superman and DC as a whole. For the ones that don't know me, I am more of a DC guy than a Marvel dude growing up. And DC in general has been a lot interesting as I watch a few DC films. But overall, to the DCU and to the DC brand itself, has been taking a major complete 180 toll for what they're more than bargained for, as Batman v Superman and Justice League completely took a bad direction, misstep of quantity over quality. And at the same time, it's been really disheartening. I feel bad for most DC fans out there. And the DC brand in general has been abandoned from general audiences completely. And let me be clear about this. It's understandable. I mean, if anything goes to show, someone who clearly run the show of DC didn't know what they're doing. But Zack Snyder may star in Man of Steel, but at the same time, he basically runs the whole show of Batman v Superman, but to Justice League. And I know he had to take a step back from Justice League, and he comes back later to remake the cut, which I know many fans have been asking for so long. And that may be the case. I know them being happy about, but the toxicity has to stop completely, because I'm not those Snyder fans, and I used to be a Zack Snyder fan myself, but things have taken way too far beyond it, and I hate to be part of this at all. But I can tell you right now, this cult bullshit of Zack Snyder is officially over, and I'm happy to wait to see this. When James Gunn got hired, I'm a huge, passionate James Gunn fan and loved his Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I know DC and him as being a comic guru, he's more experienced and more knowing comic books. So when he got hired as DC, this took a major toll to the right direction for what he's doing. And we talking Superman right now. I was so hyped to this movie going forward. James Gunn taking this movie to the great direction. Great cast, hiring cast, and to the style he's bringing got me interest to the next level. And this is actually one of my big, most anticipated movies of the year, considering I can look forward to being a DC guy once again. And now the question is, was this worth the hype? It absolutely is. I came out of this movie very joyed, left in me smile, grinned through this movie, ear to ear, cheek to cheek, and some of the greatest moments they brought to this movie, James brought to this movie, was amazing. I couldn't be more thankful and happy to see this movie going to be just resonating audiences and comic book fans and James Gunn Guardians of the Galaxy fans. And I couldn't say enough to say this sparks the new beginning era of DC, and it's brilliant in every way. One major positive I'm going to start off with is the comic book guru himself, James Gunn. And I'm going to say this right now. He is one literal son of a gun. And I say it as a passion that I'm a huge Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, who did a brilliant, fantastic job sparking DCU with Superman. And the vision he's brought is so bold and different than what he's previously done with his work. And my fear going this movie is it's going to be a Guardians of the Galaxy 2.0 in terms of so many characters in Superman. And this film, it is not the case. It is so balanced with so many characters, well enough to have their own proper screen time. And the visual, bright color, tone of this movie with great amount of heart humor is amazing. And this is what Superman, and especially as DC, should feel like. And I feel like it totally resonates and it makes sense. James Gunn understands the assignment brilliantly, knocked it out of the park, nailed it with every sense of this movie. I had no complaints going to this film, and I just knew James Gunn right off the bat, he can do it. I am always been a James Gunn passionate all my life. And sure, will he make a couple mistakes? Yeah, he will. But Superman, I feel like this is not a mistake for what he did. He did a fantastic job ballparking out of this movie and just bringing the Superman we all love about it from the back in the days. Unlike Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, and I know that one is different and dark, but light Superman toned film like this is something we audiences wanted to see and resonates so many people. and has the heart and humor to his nature, to Superman's character, which is another big thing I love. I'll get to the cast in a bit, but James Gunn, who's also the host of DCU, is just getting started. Marks a new era of DC, and it's just going to get it from here on out with him and Peter Safran running the show. He is also in charge of the storyboard phasing and where the direction goes. So he's not going to do every movie, but he's making sure the phases work out great with Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. And this is literally kicking start with the right direction. James Gunn, who you could ever doubt him. And if you love Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, and if you love James Gunn himself, you're going to love this movie a lot. But I will say, if you're not either of those, you're going to probably have a little mixed thoughts, but you may or may not like it. We'll see what people says. But overall, James Gunn, how could you possibly doubt him going to this movie? He just brings it all and brings the A kind of game to the comic book movies. He's grew up with comic book movies all his life. And where can this movie in DC be? Wow, I'm so glad he is hired to do this movie and running the DCU. This is a fantastic start with this movie with James Gunn. The cast of this movie are stacked, but let's talk about the ones that truly worked. For starters, let's talk about the Man of Steel himself, David Corenswet, who brought a phenomenal job bringing the realism, energy, and charisma playing this character who is the heart and soul and the whole characterization of this movie. It's literally Superman himself. Even the actor David himself looks straight out of like Clark Kent Superman from the start. I trusted this casting, what James Gunn could get out of him, and he pulled it off. Very incredibly talented to playing this character. I love David a lot to this movie, and I'm going to be looking forward to playing this character for so long, who literally gets all the flowers. Literally is S+ in this movie. Forget about A+. He is S+ in this film overall. Rachel Brosnahan, who plays Lois Lane, her chemistry with Dave in this movie is off the charts. It was pulled off executingly incredible. I enjoyed their chemistry in this film overall. You may not get a lot of their chemistry in screen time, but I think there's a lot enough to digest for, and I think it really brings a lot to the character, and I love their chemistry overall. Nicholas Hoult, this is the guy I want to say for the main parts, the main course. This movie plays a phenomenal Lex Luthor. Sorry, Jesse Eisenberg, let's not discredit, but Nicholas playing Lex was a phenomenal choice. Brings the insanity, the annoyingness, and the cruelty of Lex. Pulled it off very well this movie. Nicholas overall is the greatest choice of Lex in my opinion, and I think overall the best Lex Luthor we got. The cast of this movie, the three of them's chemistries, pulled it off. Very phenomenal and off the charts. I really enjoyed the major three out of this movie, but overall, I think I could get to say David is like the S+, but Lex, of course, was a huge factor, and Lois Lane, I can't discredit that either, but the three of them did a fantastic job pulling off these characters exceptionally. And now the supporting cast, I do want to bring up the Justice Gang. My major concern is there going to be too much screen time with those characters like Guardians of the Galaxy? But overall, they were balanced out just fine. You have Green Lantern, you have Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific. And I thought the three of them were great in this film and the supporting part of this movie. But I think we all can agree Mr. Terrific literally kind of stole the movie to the second act to the third act. I thought he was funny, brilliant, smart. I liked that character a lot than I anticipated. I also enjoyed Hawkgirl. But at the same time, with Green Lantern, Guy Gardner, I do like the acting, but at the same time, I don't like the jerk side of Green Lantern. But don't worry, we're getting the Lantern TV series, so we're going to see a bunch of Green Lanterns and whatnot. But I thought the Justice Gang and the start of DCU were executed just fine at the start of this. I really didn't have much issues with those characters as I thought. But there's some other characters that are kind of, I don't know, outside of that. And, just for like certain ones I don't want to bring up. But I overall thought the cast and the supporting characters pulled off their amazing chemistry. And I think James Gunn did a great job getting the best out of them. And the visual effects and CGI this movie, I know some people may have complaints, but overall, I find the CGI visuals a lot better than I anticipated. I mean, we got the pocket dimension. We have Crypto, the super dog, who looks really good visually CGI-wise. The kaiju monster in this movie, I mean, a lot of the visuals and CGI, I thought they really looked good for the most of it. And it's a lot better than The Flash, in my opinion, only because James Gunn with this movie just takes care of the CGI a lot more effective, and the shots he does with the direction with that, I thought they look really really good for the most part. But Crypto himself, I thought he also was the scene stealer too, or should I say the star of the show. We all like Crypto, and he's pretty adorable, funny, and at the same time, maybe such a good dog, maybe not a good dog, but it depends how you look at Crypto. I really enjoy Crypto and the CGI of him. They looks fantastic, but the CGI visuals overall, I really find them really good for the most of it, and they did not seem to bother me. And I know it's not going to please some people depending how they feel, but overall, they really worked with me. Now, I will say, going to this movie, I don't find it perfect for the most of it. It's definitely not perfect. You're not going to see this movie for the perfect of James Gunn. I will say what's really different is that as I watch the movie, going this movie, the first act I find a little disjointed as I watched at least the first 30 to 45 minutes of the movie. But I feel like afterwards, the second act just picks up for where it is. And I can understand why it feels disjointed. This is the kind of movie that is more of a comic book movie than just a central story center taken movie. This is literally about Superman, the passion, the realism, and a lot of the stuff that's thrown in this movie, politics. It's just basically comic book event movie that I know some people are going to be so picky on, and I understand that. And I was not expecting a good story or something pretty much out of this movie, but this is what James Gunn has written off of. This is more of a comic book than anything. So really, I will say I'm going to see this again sometime this weekend, and I would probably get used to the style, the whole direction of this movie, because for the most of it after the first act, it didn't bother me. I enjoyed where the second half went to into the third act, but the first act, I'm going to have to really get used to it by watching it again. And honestly, didn't really seem to be the major point that I thought. I really thought it looked like just a little messy at the start, but then it just picks up a lot more after. So it didn't really drag a lot from the most of it. I really just want to point out that this is not people going to this movie for a perfect story. It's more of a comic book movie. And if anyone has feels about the first act overall, maybe you're not alone. I don't know. But I do want to mention that the first act kind of wasn't what I expected, but overall, it just got better as the movie goes. And after so long, Superman was worth the hype. Indeed, overall, James Gunn brings a new era of DCU to life with the vision, the bold style direction he's taken on with this new type of film. And he executed very brilliantly with the stuff he threw in this movie, from the written screen to getting the cast out of them. It is just amazing to watch. Brilliantly, a comic book movie we truly deserve and need to see on the big screen so badly enough that this is the kind of feel we need for so long. David Cornsweet was freaking excellent all around. My flowers to him and the great cast, to Rachel, to Nicholas, to all the other cast that play their part. Overall, Superman is the comic movie indeed I will probably cherish for the most of it, and feels great to be a DC fan. If you're a DC fan, James Gunn fan, you will love this more passionately than you can ever imagine. For the first few, before I go into the second viewing, I'll be giving this a 9 out of 10 and 4.5 stars. And if you enjoyed this review, Superman, share your thoughts down below. I'd love to hear what you guys say in the comment section. And if you enjoyed this review, be sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the review. Most importantly, I want you to last. One of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless. Peace.